Hello, I'm Jelelle Awen, and this is day 16 of 33 days, and we are pretty much halfway through the series, and it seems sort of amazing to me that I'm just now getting to this topic and this meditation because it's such a key and foundational part of all of us, and that is our inner child. And I think I wanted to wait till we had established some ground with your inner protector and your masculine, so that when we reached this place of the inner child, there would be more opening and receptivity to go here. The inner child is such a precious energy inside of us. It holds innocence and magic and purity, and it also often has a strong energy of sadness and hurt and loneliness and feeling abandoned and those kinds of textures. So what's interesting as I was feeling into doing this video today is how much more awareness there is in emotional healing and spirituality about the importance of the inner child. And I don't remember this even being much of a conversation when I started parts work about over 15 years ago. There was some mention of inner child, more as a therapeutic practice though. What I see in the last 5 years especially is much more understanding of how critical the inner child connection, healing, and transformation is as we move into ascension and into awakening. And that's something I want to offer today because that might be a new perspective on inner child work. What I have discovered myself as I've worked with varying aspects of my inner child, starting with a hurt part, and I still remember her, named Evie, and going through various forms, including Jilly, that's my birth name, and feeling the maturation and the healing of my own inner child over the years. And then the transformation of her from a 3D based wounded child, very connected and hooked into birth family trauma and experiences, moving more into the 4th dimensional starseed child, where I could really then feel the roots of star family and my galactic DNA, which I will be doing a video about specifically the starseed child very soon, I think in a few days. And then moving more and more into 5th dimensional and higher frequencies of what I call crystal child. And the crystal child is not even really a child anymore. There's not really a form of a child. It's just such an exuberant energy. It's actually, what I have discovered is it's actually that crystal child energy that powers your Merkabah or your light body vehicle, your multi-dimensional travel. So without that inner child frequency being raised from wounded, sad, lonely, basically wounded daughter or son from birth family experience, without moving that frequency into more magic and health and vibrance, your Merkabah, your light body vehicle, is grounded to some degree. It's anchored to the degree that that inner child is still in pain and suffering. And it can actually be to a significant degree, especially if there's been an experience of early childhood sexual abuse. That's a frequency that has a lot of trauma layers to it and can't really just be easily bypassed or transcended with love and light or positive thinking. This is a trauma, and really just the trauma of being in 3D reality for our inner child. Every person I've ever had a session with, their inner child had processing to be felt around just being here in third dimensional reality compared to the higher frequency unity consciousness that they're used to. And the inner child retains memory of that and feeling tones of that as they come into the body. As the veil thickens as we get older, then there's less and less of that memory. Although also, which I'll be talking about connected to the star seed, usually in the early childhood phase, especially for people who are, I would say, over 35 years old, is when visitations, what you could call abductions, started happening with star family. So then there was that layer of trauma on top of the family trauma and drama. And that inner child, going back to that energy, is very often a repository for the family legacy and the family lineage of woundedness, whatever is being worked through that family line, literally through the DNA. The inner child is a sponge for that. And especially those who identify themselves as being empathic. So they take in the energy of the family and the family legacy, and then they try to transmute it through themselves. And I find this very often with inner children that I work with and connect with. They're just consumed by the energy of the family. And they don't even really have much identity. They don't really know who they are. They're often in dark rooms, in the shadows. They're hiding. They're shy. They're hiding in forests, rooms, dungeons, often put there by the inner protector. So I want to talk about that because that's a big piece, is the relationship between the inner protector and the inner child, which I don't hear talked about very much. A lot of people will bring up the inner child, but they will try to go immediately to that energy. And sometimes it works. Sometimes you can drop right into your inner child. The question is, what did you bypass of your protector in doing so? And often if you bypass a protector, there's some kind of then looping pattern that still exists there, because they may have let you have a taste, but it's doubtful that the protector really let you experience the vulnerable tones of the inner child. It's very precious energy. And in my experience, it takes time and patience and lots of showing up with your heart open in order to allow the protector to feel confident that you're ready to be with this precious energy. It takes your protector time to differentiate you from the inner child, to see you as different from the inner child. And you really have to qualify yourself as a caregiver before that protector will let you near the inner child. So you may be able to experience some off-gassing energies, or when the inner child is in reaction. If it's severe enough, the protector may let you come in. But to really form a bond and a knowing sense and a feeling sense of that inner child, you start with the protector and very much respect that part of you has been guarding and protecting that inner child since they were born. So you can imagine the visualization that we'll do today is going back to the castle and working with the protector, seeing if they want to show us where your inner child is, seeing then what state your inner child is in, but honoring your protector in the movement of that. And that is what I feel allows that deeper experience. And the inner child themselves is usually quite trusting and eager to receive love. And the protector, while very vigilant and protective, hasn't necessarily been very nurturing. They've been more guarded, they've been more burdened. You know, it's kind of like if you asked a castle guard to take care of a small child. You know, how good a job would the castle guard do at playing, at feeling, at being in the imagination? It really takes this 4D self, 5D self version of you to be with that inner child, to become what that inner child needs, which is essentially a new parent. So the inner child transforms into these frequencies I was talking about of starseed and crystal child as it receives new kinds of parenting love energies from and with you, and also particularly with the divine feminine, divine mother, and Mother Mary. Mother Mary is an energy that I often call in when I'm meeting an inner child, because she's just so soothing and has this frequency of purity about her, and she really seems to get and draw out innocence. So I'm already feeling that she'll be with us today to meet our inner child. And also inner children seem to like Metatron, because he's kind of like a Santa Claus. So he can be very comforting to them as well. And the amazing thing about inner children, too, the parts of them I've met over the years, and there's probably been hundreds, is that they are very wise and precocious, and they have a lot of intuition and intuitive sense about things. And once they're free from, so here's another place I wanted to go today. This is a dynamic that I'm seeing, is as people do more what they call inner child work, it's not that that's not good work. They probably are connecting, like I said, with an energy of their inner child. But what can happen is if there's a fusion to their protector in that work, then their inner child is kind of labeled or boxed in a certain way. It's sort of like it's just stuck being wounded, usually. So one of the things I do in session is I feel, well, what is the dynamic of this inner child? Sometimes they're really ready to move out of that dungeon. They're ready to move out of the sick bed. They're ready to be magical. And they want to run in the meadow and the forest and play. And again, what's keeping them from being able to do that is the protector. So speaking with and connecting with your protector, saying, I want to take this on. I want to be with my inner child, and I'm ready to hold them. Can you help me do that? But you're not responsible for it. That's the kind of energy, again, the inner protector needs to hear. And your inner child is spring-loaded in their essence to be in joy. That is actually their natural frequency. So wherever else they found themselves is a temporary place that they're meant to move out of. And that's what you can help them do with your intention and your love. And I feel this little voice inside wanting me to introduce my little friends back here. What I wanted to mention is that often inner children love to have a stuffed animal that represents them. So after this meditation today, you may find yourself in a store and you hear that voice of the inner child wanting that stuffed animal. Or a blanket or a heart pillow or something that you can hold of them. So this is Aurora, my starseed, who I'm going to be talking about in a couple of days. This actually she's just called Shadow. And she was kind of a shadow aspect of my starseed and my inner child that I was working with for a while. And she's really softened. The stuffed animals change appearance. And when you're really working with a part and you put them in your bag and you carry them around and you bring them to restaurants or whatever you're comfortable with, they really start to animate. It's very interesting. They get energized. And this, of course, is a unicorn, and this is Crystal. And she represents more of my crystal child. who's often riding a unicorn. And Colleen and I are going to connect with unicorns, dragons, some elementals tomorrow. Dragons and unicorns, that will be interesting. We'll see how that goes. But today in the meditation, be really open to that. If you can't feel that much of your inner child, that's okay. It takes time and patience to have the protector trust. He's just so, they could be female, but the protector has just so long been vigilantly preserving the inner child. And thank goodness that they do that, because they are then able to come out the way that they do so preciously when they do. So go ahead and close your eyes. Start to bring your focus inward. See yourself, feel yourself surrounded by white light. It's holding you in this exploration. It's making you feel safe. I am seeing already Mother Mary on the left in her beautiful light blue gown, cloak today. She wears different ones, but today it's light blue. And to the right, I see Archangel Metatron. He's in twinkly eye, thin Santa Claus mode. He loves inner children. And they're both holding this wonderful divine mother and father energy. We'll start down the path in the woods that may be becoming familiar to you as we head toward your castle that represents your essence. Take in that castle and notice if there's any shifts in it from the last time that you were here. It may be getting brighter, bigger, like renovated, as you're paying more attention to it and connecting with it. Notice around the castle too, the grounds themselves and what they look like and feel like. If there's a moat and what's in it. What are the plants like and trees, if there are any? Let yourself zoom in a bit to take in some more detail. If you're having trouble with more detail, you can always put your left hand or both hands over your third eye to activate your third eye, your clairvoyance. This is not just imagining, this is traveling. Journeying. As you take in your castle, we'll ask your protector to come forward. They may still be wearing armor, or that may have shifted. They might be younger or older, have a weapon or not. If you have a name that they've given you to call them, you can call them that and greet them in this moment. If you don't have a name, you could listen for one. So communicate now to your protector that you would like to meet, or if you've already met, you would like to connect more with your inner child. You should get a pretty immediate response from them about that. They might have concerns, as I mentioned earlier. And just take those into your heart. They might be eager for you to meet your inner child, to get some relief, to see if maybe you could make them happy. Have your protector feel the support of Mother Mary and Metatron. That there's a lot of divine love here, and curiosity, and compassion. And I actually hear Mary saying to the protectors that are engaging in this meditation, she's saying, thank you. Thank you so much for keeping the little ones safe, for your intention and your integrity. You've done the best job that you could in very challenging energies. And we're not here to take over or in any way harm the little one that you guard so beautifully. We are here to love them, to free them, to let them experience joy and magic again, and to give you relief. So let your inner protector take that in from Mary and see what the reaction is. May even be tears. Metatron has a kind of sort of bowing to the protector and nodding his head. So there's a lot of honoring going on. Protector hasn't done anything wrong when it comes to the inner child. They've done the best they can. And if you're a soul who signed up for a lot of trauma experience in order to heal it for yourself and the collective, then they've had a very big job. And there's always something beautifully preserved about the inner child. It's amazing how the protector does that. So we're just giving them this moment of recognition. And then we'll ask your protector if they would show us your inner child, if we could meet them. They may right away show you where they are, somewhere in the castle, maybe hidden up in a tower or down in the dungeon, just to keep them safe, not as a punishment. They could be in the woods out back of the castle. They could even be placed in another dimension altogether. Once you get a sense of where your inner child is, move toward them with the protector, Mary, Metatron, and myself. As you take in the environment your inner child is in and how they're feeling, just open your heart even more. Feel your heart space up with more light. Feel it glow like a beacon, especially if your inner child is in the dark. Mary has a candle in her hands to light the way. Looks like a rose candle. And with that softness in the room, approach your inner child and sit with them. They probably look like you when you were young, and they can range in age from infant to preteen. Whichever age they most need you. And you may even, as you look around wherever they are, you may start seeing a scene from your childhood. They're very good projectors, inner children, because very often they're still open to their soul gifts. They haven't shut them down yet. So ask them to show you where they are stuck or where they feel pain. You might get a very clear memory that comes back to you in this moment. It could be for me, it was when my parents told me they were getting divorced when I was 11. Very clear that that's where my inner child was, stuck and hurt. It might be for you a time you were bullied or a time you were abused. Or it could be a traumatic loss of some kind. It may be something that you've worked on healing for a long time, yet it does feel different when you connect to the part directly around it. So just again, open your heart. Hopefully your protector is sitting there as well and okay with this. If your inner child is okay with it, you can take their hand or even invite them to sit in your lap if they feel ready. And if they don't, that's okay. as you take in the scene that they have pain around, offer them support and love and companionship, which they didn't have when it originally happened. And that's why they're stuck there. You can help them move out by just being with your heart presence with them, helping them digest. As you connect with your inner child over time, and also in session space, if you feel drawn to do ongoing work with us, the inner child can move out of where you found them and into a higher frequency, like outside in the meadow or by the ocean or somewhere that you love, a place you love. It's okay if they're not ready to do that right now. I see Mary placing the candle to the side and holding her hands out, inviting the inner child to take them and to receive comfort from her. And she's saying she'll stay with them if they would like that for as long as they need. Your protector may really need that space. So we'll say goodbye to the inner child for now, leaving Mary with them. Say goodbye to the protector, thanking them for giving us access today, inviting them to trust the process that's happening here and allow the inner child to get what they need. Go ahead and open your eyes. I hope that was a meaningful connection for you. It may just be the beginning, but this energy and essence of the inner child is so worth getting to know and is intimately connected to embodying your 5D self. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow.